She thought she married a doormat. He let her believe it, until her betrayal became the key to her own destruction. What started as infidelity ended in one of the most calculated, cold-blooded revenge stories ever told, and he never raised his voice once. Let's begin. The morning it began, nothing looked suspicious, at least not to anyone who didn't know Vanessa Delaney the way I did. She'd come home from a gym wearing that same navy blue sports bra and yoga pants set, drenched in sweat, humming under her breath. But it was the way she moved, too deliberate, too rehearsed, that made me freeze with my coffee halfway to my lips. She kissed my cheek like she always did and tossed her gym bag toward the hallway. "How was your workout?" I asked without looking up from the financial statement I was combing through. "Amazing," she said quickly. "Josh showed me this new burn routine. Legs are going to hate me tomorrow." Josh. That name again. She said it casually, like it wasn't the 12th time I'd heard her mention him this week. The softness in her tone whenever she said Josh reminded me of the way she used to talk about me when we were first dating, when she still cared. I should have spoken up then. I should have said, "You're glowing, and I know it's not from deadlifts." But I didn't. I closed my laptop slowly, nodded, and said, "Glad it was worth it." She turned, phone already in hand, already texting, already halfway checked out. That night, she stayed late at work. Again. And just like that, the pattern began. Her scent would arrive home before she did. Cologne that wasn't mine, faint traces of aftershave she never bought me. Her excuses were paper thin. Gym delays, office emergencies, wine nights with coworkers. But I didn't argue. I didn't question. I played my part. Because I needed time. By week 2, I had the name Josh A. Kincaid tied to her gym social media. Personal trainer. Former college athlete. Divorcee. 2 kids he never saw. I opened a burner account and hired a PI named Crystal Delgado from Las Vegas. Sharp, discreet, and ruthless when needed. By week 3, I had enough footage to make my stomach churn. Josh and Vanessa at a steakhouse, her hand on his thigh. Josh's beat-up Dodge Ram parked in our driveway at 11:32 a.m. on a Wednesday when she told me she was visiting her sister in Tempe. The final image was the one that broke something inside me forever. Our bedroom, our sheets, our pillows. Her on top of him, smiling like she'd found salvation. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even cry. But I could plan. That night, I cooked her favorite pasta, creamy truffle Alfredo, garlic bread, Pinot Noir chilled to 54 degrees. She kissed my cheek, told me I was too good. I smiled, and installed 3 audio bugs that evening, one in her purse, one under the bed, one in the bathroom. If she was going to build her betrayal in my house, I was going to design my revenge in silence. By the next day, I had a folder titled Operation Thorn. The audio files started rolling in by the second night. Tiny blips of deception woven through idle conversations, careless whispers, and giggles she hadn't shared with me in years. It didn't hurt the way I thought it would. It was worse, colder, like watching someone you love slowly morph into a stranger, pixel by pixel, smile by smile. But then came that recording. She didn't know the bathroom vent carried sound so well. "I think he suspects something," Vanessa whispered, her voice hushed and low, yet sharp with mischief. Josh's gravelly voice replied, "He's a finance guy, right? He's too busy crunching numbers to pay attention to you." I paused the recording there. Finance guy. That's what she told him I was. Not a cyber forensics consultant. Not someone trained in pattern recognition, data trails, digital surveillance. Not someone who could build entire timelines based on app data, metadata, or even silence. Josh thought I was just some spreadsheet drone. And that's where he made his first mistake. By week 5, I knew more about Josh Kincaid than his ex-wife probably did. He had a gambling problem. Ran 2 failed LLCs in Nevada. Missed child support for 18 consecutive months. And his fitness business. A front for illegal testosterone and HGH sales on the side. I printed every record and dropped it in a fireproof folder labeled Collateral. But the worst part, Vanessa was no longer just cheating. She was planning an exit. I talked to my cousin Jenna, she said in another clip. She knows this divorce attorney in Scottsdale. Says we could go after spousal support. Says if I play my cards right and act like I've been emotionally neglected, I could walk away with the house. The house. Josh chuckled. And maybe more. He's got stocks, investments. Hell, Maybe even some of that crypto crap. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The house she wanted to gut and flip? The one I rebuilt myself after my father's death? My savings? My business equity? This wasn't infidelity. This was theft in slow motion. Smiling, seductive theft. So, I changed my approach. I started writing emails to divorce attorneys behind her back. I drafted financial documents, transferred key assets into secure trusts, and most importantly, revisited our prenuptial agreement. Turns out, Vanessa's insistence on including a cohabitation and fidelity clause just became my greatest weapon. Clause 7A. If either party is found engaging in an extramarital affair with documented evidence, the prenuptial agreement is rendered null and void in court. Clause 9C. In cases of fraud, misrepresentation, or deceitful behavior with financial motivations, the offending party forfeits entitlement to all shared assets. She didn't read the fine print when she signed it 6 years ago, but I did. Every clause, every caveat, and I was ready to bring the fire. Because revenge wasn't going to be loud. It was going to be precise. October arrived with a deceptive kind of warmth, the kind that made you think everything was fine, until the chill crept in overnight. Vanessa had been spending more nights at yoga retreats, and coming home glowing, drenched in exotic oils, her phone tucked tightly under her pillow. I didn't mention it. I didn't need to. Every new lie was just another piece added to the chessboard I was building in silence. But the trap couldn't stay theoretical forever. I needed a confrontation, and I needed witnesses. So I orchestrated it. It started with a text from my anonymous burner account to Josh Kincaid. Vanessa's husband is on to you. You're being watched. Act now or lose everything. I tracked his IP. I watched him read the message. He didn't reply. But 2 hours later, Vanessa came home early. She stormed into the kitchen, flushed and wide-eyed. Did you go through my phone? No, I answered calmly, slicing a cucumber on the cutting board. What? Her eyes searched mine for a hint of a lie. She found nothing. Because I hadn't lied. I didn't need her phone. I had the cloud. By that weekend, I invited my lawyer friend, Miles Keegan, over for drinks. A harmless evening with a friend. Vanessa liked Miles. Trusted him. Thought he was just a chatty lawyer with an annoying voice. She had no idea he was already preparing my divorce case. We sat on the patio, Vanessa sipping wine, Miles asking idle questions. How's married life? He asked. Great, she lied. He's busy with work. I do my thing. We make it work. Miles grinned, his voice casual. That's the secret to longevity. Separate lives under one roof. I almost laughed at how accurate that was. Later that night, after Vanessa went to bed, Miles stayed behind for exactly 15 minutes. You've got a rock-solid case, he said, flipping through the documents I handed him. Prenup's airtight. She's sunk. And with this evidence, you won't just win, you'll bury her. I nodded, feeling nothing. Not joy, not rage. Just cold, methodical purpose. The next morning, Vanessa left for a supposed weekend trip to Sedona with her college girlfriends. 3 hours later, a hotel room keycard charge appeared on our joint credit card. Not Sedona. Not even close. A boutique hotel in downtown Phoenix. Room 410. Registered to Josh Kincaid. The last puzzle piece clicked. I printed every receipt. Matched timestamps with camera footage. Layered screenshots of texts over audio transcripts. I organized the evidence in 5 identical manila envelopes, each addressed to my divorce attorney, Vanessa's lawyer, the one she hadn't hired yet but was planning to, Josh's ex-wife, Josh's parole officer, and one for me. The moment had arrived. That Monday morning, I walked into our home with a folder in my hands and fire in my spine. Vanessa was in the kitchen, pretending to be reading a cookbook. Vanessa, I said, calm as ice, we need to talk. She looked up, visibly annoyed. Now's not a good time, Parker. How about a brunch? I dropped the envelope on the counter. The photos on top weren't blurred. Josh's tattooed hand, around her waist in our living room. Vanessa's head thrown back in ecstasy on her bed. Audio transcripts stapled behind the photos. Her face went pale. She reached for the folder with trembling hands. What is this? Truth, I said. The thing you stopped offering me a long time ago. I can explain, she began, but the panic was already showing through her glossed lips. No, you can't. I cut in. Because for once, I don't need your explanation. I have facts. I have footage. I have recordings. I have bank transactions and geolocation history. You don't get to lie your way out of this one. You've been spying on me, she gasped. No, I replied. I've been documenting the woman I married slowly turning into someone I don't recognize. I've been protecting myself from the storm you brought into my house. Her eyes were wide, frantic, like a cornered animal. What? What are you going to do with all this? I leaned forward. My voice softened, not with kindness, but with lethal finality. I'm going to give you exactly what you wanted, Vanessa. Freedom. But not the kind you dreamed of. Not the kind that comes with alimony and beachfront brunches. You're going to walk away with your name, your clothes, and not much else. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. For the record, I added, you could have just told me you were unhappy. But instead, you schemed. You plotted. You laughed behind my back with the same man who used to shove me into lockers in high school. Her lips parted again. You knew him. I did, I said. And now I know you too. She stood there, speechless. And for the first time in a long while, I walked out, leaving her frozen in the wreckage she created. Vanessa didn't leave the house that day. Not for brunch, not for errands, not even for air. She sat in the living room like a statue, the folders still in her lap. Occasionally, I catch her glancing at the door, like she expected Josh to burst through it and save her. But Josh wasn't coming. Because that morning, I sent him a copy of the same envelope, along with a message. You always like destroying lives. Let's see how you like it when someone fights back. That evening, I received a blocked call. I didn't answer. Then came a string of desperate texts from Vanessa. Parker, we need to talk. Please, this isn't what it looks like. I'm scared. Scared. Good. By Thursday, her cousin Jenna reached out to ask if I'd been threatening Vanessa. I sent her a single message. I'm not threatening her. I'm freeing her. Friday morning, Vanessa's yoga instructor mysteriously closed his gym for 2 days after an anonymous tip was sent to the City Board of Health, complete with pictures of illegal supplements stored improperly in a back closet. I didn't send the tip, but I know who did. Rebecca Kincaid, Josh's ex-wife, the one he abandoned with 2 kids and a mountain of debt, the one I had coffee with a week before. She cried for the first 10 minutes. Then she gave me everything I needed to bury Josh Kincaid under his own lies. I always knew he was a monster, she said, voice trembling. But I didn't know he'd find someone to help him sharpen his claws. Now you do, I replied. And together, we made a plan. The confrontation, the one Vanessa and Josh probably imagined with me sobbing, yelling, maybe even begging, did happen. But it didn't go their way. It was a Sunday afternoon. I made sure the cameras were rolling, audio crystal clear, every angle captured. Vanessa brought Josh to the house, trying to look composed. But her body betrayed her, shoulders tense, fingers twitching, voice shaky. Josh. He smirked the whole time. Same smirk he wore when he used to call me Pencil Boy in high school. You really think all this will matter in court? He scoffed. You're weak, Parker. You always were. She deserves better. And that's you. I asked. He stepped forward, puffing up. Yeah, me. I make her feel alive. I didn't flinch. Well, congratulations. Because after today, you'll be feeling a whole lot of things. Court summons. IRS audits. Criminal investigations. Prison walls. That wiped the smirk off his face. Vanessa looked between us, visibly shaken. What are you talking about? I pressed a button on the remote. The screen behind me lit up with surveillance footage. Hotel room. Bedroom. Kitchen. Parking lot. Every lie. Every touch. Every betrayal. Right there on a 65-inch screen. Her knees buckled. She sat down, mouth parted in disbelief. Josh clenched his fists. You're insane. No, I said. I'm prepared. I was watching you the entire time you thought I was blind. Then, I handed them both envelopes. Inside, full transcripts, financial records, the prenup, police reports, medical records from Rebecca's case, photos of unlicensed steroid vials in Josh's gym. I've already spoken to the authorities, I said. They're reviewing everything. But today is your choice. Choice, Vanessa whispered. Leave, I said coldly. Now, or I press send. And this entire digital dossier gets mailed to every client, every partner, every agency you both have ties to. Josh stepped toward me. You won't do it. I opened my hand and showed him my phone. My thumb hovered over the screen. One touch, I said. And it all goes live. Public. Viral. Irreversible. For a long second, no one moved. Then Vanessa did. She stood, her eyes glassy, her voice barely a whisper. I didn't want this. No, I said. You wanted everything. And now you'll have nothing. Josh stared at her, disgust curling his lip. You told me you had this under control. I didn't think he'd, she stammered. You didn't think I'd stop being a doormat, I said. But I'm not that man anymore. Josh walked out first, slammed the door so hard the frame shook. Vanessa didn't follow him. She stood in the middle of the room, shaking, lost. Where am I supposed to go? She asked quietly. I looked her dead in the eye. That's not my problem anymore. And then I turned away. The house was quiet after they left. Eerily quiet. No more heels clacking across the hardwood. No fake phone calls in the bathroom. No lies muttered beneath shower steam. Just stillness. Honest, unflinching stillness. It was the kind of silence you don't notice until you've been living in noise for far too long. I didn't chase after her. I didn't call a friend to vent. I didn't even pour myself a victory drink. Instead, I cleaned, wiped down the counters, packed her things, boxed up every trace of Vanessa Delaney, and stacked them by the door. The final box contained her wedding dress, untouched since the day we said, I do. Fitting, because the woman who wore it never really existed. She was just a beautiful mask hiding something poisonous. By Monday, I had already filed the divorce papers. My attorney fast-tracked them, citing evidentiary urgency. Vanessa was served at the dingy one-bedroom she'd found 2 blocks from a chain diner, where, according to the records I pulled, she'd just been hired to wait tables. Her cousin Jenna tried to call me again. I didn't answer. 3 weeks later, Josh Kincaid was arrested. A full federal raid. DEA, IRS, state police. The footage of his gym being raided made local news. Guess someone leaked the tip. Rebecca Kincaid called me the next day. I cried when I saw him in handcuffs, she said. But not out of sadness. Out of closure. I knew the feeling. The divorce proceedings didn't last long. Vanessa's attorney took one look at the evidence and advised immediate settlement. She showed up to mediation looking like a ghost. Hollow cheeks. Hair tied up in a lazy bun. No makeup. Her once proud eyes refused to meet mine. I'm sorry, she said in a trembling voice. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need to say it anyway. I'm not angry, I replied. She blinked in confusion. You're not, she whispered. No, I said. I'm something worse. I'm indifferent. She bit her lip, nodded slowly, and signed the paperwork. No alimony. No assets. Nothing. As she stood to leave, she turned back. I hope one day you find someone better, she said. I already have, I replied. She frowned. Who? Me. 6 months later, I moved into a cabin on the edge of Bluewood Lake, 2 hours from Phoenix. 40 acres of silence, towering pine trees, and a view so breathtaking it felt like an apology from the universe. The cybersecurity business I once ran out of a cluttered apartment was now thriving. I took on clients I chose. Most of them victims, people who trusted too much and were burned by those closest to them. They called me the digital bloodhound. I just called it closure. One foggy morning, I received a small parcel in the mail. No return address. Inside, a handwritten letter. Parker, I know you probably won't read this. Maybe you've burned it by now, but I need to say it anyway. I never deserved the love you gave me. I threw it away like it meant nothing, because I was broken, and I thought someone else could fix me. But he didn't. He destroyed what little I had left. I don't want forgiveness. I just want you to know, I remember every kindness. Every time you chose patience over pride. Every moment I now realize was real. I hope you're happy. Truly. Because I'm still learning how to survive without hurting others. Vanessa. I read it once. Then I fed it to the fire. Because I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was finally, beautifully free. That evening, I sat on the porch with a cup of strong coffee. The sun sank behind the pines, bleeding orange across the lake. Maria, an old college friend turned something more, texted that she was on her way for the weekend. We didn't talk about the past. She knew I didn't want pity. She liked me for who I was now, and that was more than enough. The phone buzzed again. Maria, stopping for wine, red or white. I smiled. Me, surprise me. I'm done planning. Tonight, I just want peace. And as the wind brushed gently through the trees and loons sang across the water, I realized Peace was louder than revenge. Peace was revenge. And I had finally won, not by fighting back with fire, but by walking away with my soul intact.